everyone, Ivy League Gaming here, and today we're playing Watcher of Realms. And today I'm joined by Fastidious. Hey!
Hey guys, how the heck are you?
So he is completely free to play, right?
Yeah, 100% free to play. Yeah, not much more to say. It's how I've been gaming in this gacha world for like almost 3 years now, I think.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you've never done
No,
or
no. So I got addicted to Raid Shadow Legends like end of 2019, and then I realized I spent like over $2,000 in a couple months, and then I made the
oh,
decision I wasn't going to spend any money anymore.
love it.
And aside from a couple small games I tried and spent a little bit, any main game I had, whether that be Raid or Eternal Evolution or now Watcher of Realms, I've been 100% free to play ever since. So like 2.5, 3 years now.
Okay, so for me, I wouldn't say I'm the opposite. I'm definitely not a kraken, hardly a whale. At best, I would say because of content creator perks in games like Raid Shadow Legends, I was maybe a whale in disguise.
Okay.
um, but I would call myself a dolphin, especially in this game. I'm definitely not just a little guppy buying only like the monthly pack. I've definitely bought more than the monthly pack, but yeah, that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the differences of free to play versus a little bit more pay to win in this game. Can it still be fun both ways? What are the challenges? Is it worth spending? Or how is the free to play? Like, oh, there's so much to think about. And so many people ask. It's always one of the most popular questions when I play a new game. Is it free to play friendly? So you're going to be here to help me with that.
Happy to help.
You know what? Just I want to talk first the free to play mentality. I've always been one of those people that cannot stand the free to play community, just to be blunt, because of the
100%.
you know how it is, like oh, I'm free to play. Oh, I'm free to play. It's everyone's excuse for not getting good, literally. Not just to be super blunt. It's like no, it's not because you're free to play, it's because you're not taking time to learn the game. That's one of
100%.
those.
And imagine how frustrating it is when, not to toot my own horn, I think I kind of am good, and then everyone says you're not free to play.
Exactly. And
So
that's so true too.
yeah, I think the other thing I will say, I love free to play. It's what I am, but and I maybe I've been guilty of this. So if you know me, let me know if I have been. But I feel like sometimes free to plays are like marathon runners or vegans,
They
and
have
it's
to
like
brand it.
how long can you make it into the conversation before they mention that they're free to play?
There's like the
Uh,
meme of Raid, free to play, by the way. Everyone has it as like memes or
yeah,
emotes for stuff because you're like, all right, cool. We didn't need to know that. That means nothing in this conversation.
yeah. But I mean, you do feel that like little fire within you because people are like criticizing your account, and you're like, no, but I work so hard.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
think
spend any money.
that's the problem is I think with the free to play community is so many people just say, oh, you have a legendary. That means you can't be free to play.
Hmm.
Since when does being free to play mean you can't get lucky, like, or have like, or grind
A
extremely
100%.
well? Like
Yeah.
Odd One
So.
Gaming, right? In the raid, he just did his crazy free to
Mhm.
play series. He got so many legendaries because he was a crazy, crazy grinder. And if you just put in the work, you can actually have the
A
same
hundred
success.
percent. Yeah, so to zoom out a bit, because I think we're going to have this conversation be a bit more global, right? At
Yeah,
the
we can
beginning,
do a
not
little
just
bit of
watch.
both. Yeah.
So just for my background, I had for like just under 1 year, like 350 something days, I did a daily free to play series, which by like day 150 started being like weekly, but I did like in 150 days, 149 straight
Oh,
videos,
that's
except for the one
awesome.
day of Raid Shadow Legends. And people are always telling me I was lying, but no. In this, I'm going to contrast this to Watcher of Realms. Don't worry, guys. But I just had already played Raid for like a year and a half and had been addicted to it, and I was very committed to being very efficient, like
Mhm.
like annoyingly so. To like, and so it's like, is Raid Shadow Legends free to play? 100% not, unless you're like me and it was COVID and I had no life and I structured. I remember being at my cousin's bar mitzvah and scheduling time I could step out because we had the Brogni fusion going on. So to contrast that to Watcher of Realms, what's been really exciting but kind of scary to me is I played the game free to play for 1 week. I was like, I like this game, I love this game. I'm gonna stop this account and make content again, make a brand new free to play account, and dive right in. So I'm in like uncharted waters, whereas in Race Legends, I had it like planned to a T, where like I got Lydia in like 350 days, uh, which I was very proud of. With this game, I don't know what's gonna happen. So far I'm loving it, but it's yeah, you got a painstaking detail, especially in like the games that are, we'll talk about in a second, but this game I do think is pretty free to play, but in the games that aren't, yeah, you really have to focus and really have to grind.
Yeah, I think that's just the big misconception of like luck in legendaries equals not free to play. But really, spending just speeds up time. Time is really the issue, not spending, it's time. How much time if you can grind like a crazy person free to play and have a better account than I do if I spend, if you put in more work than I do, if you get more knowledge than I have, or like, you know, there's so many ways to look at that too. And I think this is one of those games that is going to be challenging for Krakens that are used to just wailing their way through things, hitting the auto button and
100%.
walking away. So ironically, I think this game might not be as Kraken whale friendly as some other games because it takes such specific strategies for doing these battles.
I mean, even already, like the first few guides I put out my first week, where I was like, place X champion here, place this kind of defender here. I had people saying like, oh, I spent $100, $200 in the game, but I couldn't beat this. But oh, that's what I had to do. Not that I'm so good at it, but one thing I really love about free to play is you don't have a choice but to figure it out because you're so constrained. So, like to quickly talk about the video we just made on my account where we talked about the most free to play accessible heroes. Ivy hadn't even thought about those heroes. No criticism to Ivy, but I had to do it out of necessity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a double-edged sword. Like, is it kind of boring to use like the not cool units? Sure, but is it kind of exciting to try to have this ragtag squad make it work?
It
For me, it
is. I
is.
like that. And that's something we talked about that I'm trying to carry over in my test server use as well. Sure, a test server, you think you want to push them to the max and do the hardest content possible. But no, that's not relatable to 99% of players. So I'm trying to make content that feels free to play friendly on purpose, where I'm just plugging in that new special character. So like we have the event coming up. Let's say Razak is the only character you get as a legendary on your account. What other epics and rares or whatever can you use him with? I'm trying to make things more relatable there too. So that's it's so fun to think about this game and that aspect of free to play versus pay to win. And this, like I said, the strategy, people just want to be like, oh, I can't do it. Money isn't going to make you be able to win in this game. You have to figure out what you're doing. You can't just plug in a hero
Yeah.
and hit auto. Like, it's not a turn-based game where you can just power through 90% of the stuff.
Yeah, no question. And I do think it's really cool in this game, but also for me immensely frustrating in that something like Raid, like I know, I'm just mentioning Raid because me and Ivy both
Oh
make
yeah,
content
we
for
both,
it.
yeah.
But so like in that, like I knew, okay, you focus on this one guy and then you can just save and wait. But on this, it's really about like you can't campaign farm and have one guy doing all the damage.
Right.
You need synergies between your team. So actually those first few days, it made for great content. I got some views, especially for just starting up this new content, but I was pulling all the time, which drove me crazy because the first 2 days, I think we had a 10x up for Silas and Virna, but after that, nothing was going on. And I still had to pull because I was like, dude,
Yeah,
I only have
just...
one here. Like I have to pull. And that, things like this happen. And like, for example, I just had 2 videos come out talking about the gold situation I was in, and everyone's telling me, no, you can't. And I had to make the decision that I was going to farm stage 5 and then stage 6 of Gold Raid, which if you guys have been in Gold Raid is way less efficient than stage 7, but I can't get to stage 7 yet because I don't have the gold to level my gear and I don't have the characters to this, and this. And it's this, vicious cycle. And then eventually you have to make these quote unquote inefficient decisions. But I truly think in the short to long term, they have to be for fast progression. They are the efficient decision. But there's that free to play itch in me being like, no, save your shards. No, don't use your energy till you're at max efficiency. So this game it's pushing me in that way, which is I've really enjoyed, but been very frustrated by.
That's actually funny you mentioned gold because we were all spoiled at the beginning. Free to
And I
play
missed that.
and pay to win. Everyone was spoiled. The very first server launch event, you could get up to 50 million gold plus a gold bonus to go grind more if you needed to. So I never thought gold was going to be an issue. I'm like, what you talking about? Gold's great in this game. And then sure enough, once you use it all, leveling up 6-star artifacts, or sorry, 6-star, not 6-star, mythic artifacts, yeah, it's a lot. It goes away very quickly. So I can't imagine not having that initial start. So people are at a bit
Especially
disadvantage, especially free to play. Yeah.
I also really got it really hurt me timing wise. Now that I realize the Silas and Virna was on my first account when I started, this one was the 2x. And I actually just like, I'm starting on Saturday because that's when the 2x is. So I'll
But you
start,
can't.
but I couldn't do it.
You
So that
can't do
drove me
it. Yeah.
crazy. And because I waited, I missed out on the entire new player event. So it really was this like, wow,
Oh.
Fastidious, what do you do? And you like, I thought I was so clever with my timing, and it was like almost like on purpose. I was like, what's the worst way to start?
And there's actually another way that spending is rewarded very early in this game, in the sense of summoning. When it comes to the legendary summons, the first 3 days of your account, you have a 2x event for legendary summons. Just like Raid has a boosted rates on sacred shards right when you start a new account. And you can't really get, I mean, you can
get
like one. You can get like one through campaign within the first couple of days if you really try hard. But for the most part, it's more like, did you buy the pack for leveling up to level 20 and 30? Did you buy the battle pass? Like that's kind of, or actually you can't even buy the battle pass 3 days in. So it's interesting that that one actually really doesn't favor free to play at all.
I'm gonna have a video eventually that comes out on every way free to play to find these gold shards of the game, but like there was nothing like that out there. So you have to beat the hard campaign chapter 3. It's the only way I found early on.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I was busting my butt. If you guys see, the first day I played 18 hours, not straight because I took a sleep, but the first 24 hours I played 18 hours because I was like, I'm free to play. I have to get under the energy cap as fast as possible because every hour I'm missing out on 20 energy. So it's the little things like that. And then even with all that grinding, I only had like half a day to spare by the time I got the gold shard. So it's super hard. So that's a really good point, Ivy Lee.
Yeah, it's really, really hard. So many games seem to do that, but I mean, it makes sense. At the end of the day, I think sometimes people, again, I guess it's like a complain about the community vibe, but these games are obviously catering to people spending. They have to fund the game in the first place. And it wouldn't be very fair if a free-to-play person can literally be as good as someone who spent a lot of money. It wouldn't be fair. So I definitely think that people get too antsy with, but I can't do this because I'm free-to-play. You shouldn't be able to, right? Sometimes it's good.
To defend the payers out there, it drives me crazy when I have free-to-play people complain to me that people spend money, and I'm like, we wouldn't be able to play the game free-to-play. It wouldn't exist if they couldn't finance it. Like am I concerned when my viewers spend a couple $100 on summons in one go? Of course, and I will tell people maybe you could spread it out or save or do it once a month or something. However, like I'm glad people spend some money, or else the game wouldn't exist and it wouldn't keep improving. And we need people spending, right? That's like the whole point.
Exactly.
I'm just from the mentality of within reason, guys, please.
Yeah, I've always been this advocate. I kind of had this disclaimer about how I felt when I did my own free-to-play series in Raid, because I didn't want people to think I was actually advocating that you should be. I don't believe in being free-to-play at all. Like, I think everyone should spend at least $5 once. That's it. Like $5. Support something. Nothing is free. You can't go to Blockbuster and buy an old video game and play it for free. You can't buy a game at GameStop that you take home. Nothing is free. Blizzard games are not free. So I think supporting a game financially, even to the tiniest extent, I think everyone should do, unless you're you have multiple accounts, you're a content creator, whatever. Otherwise, I hate, that's where I'm actually very anti free to play.
I hate that you said, or I love that you said $5 because that's I was so close to getting the Iona pack, and then I don't not because I don't have $5, but then people are like, oh, it's
you can't claim free to play. Yeah, exactly. That's the hard part.
That's a nice transition in that. So now that I'm in the content creator program, and I do put out a lot of content, I have a big decision to make with the diamonds that I'm really wavering on, because back in the day with Raid, at one point I had like 3 accounts and it drove me nuts. And I kind of promised myself I wouldn't do more than 1 account. So I just got to figure out, how do I manage this? Because if I get diamonds, is it free to play? Like technically, like no, I'm not paying. It's not free to play, right?
I 100% think that if you do collect any of the rewards, even just from doing the random events, so you get a little bit of diamonds, it's no longer free to play because you can't just get those. So you can't say it's a free to play series anymore if you collect those.
I think that where I'm leaning, based on talking with like the people on my Discord the most, is I'm thinking of rebranding. Like I want to do like a full 30 days for sure, if not more, and then continuing the series, but calling it like no spend, with like in the comments, in the description, a strong, like I haven't spent anything, but I do get
some diamonds.
I do get some diamonds. But I'm definitely committed to not spending. but also, yeah, I wish I could just do another account, but it's
It's too
frustrating.
much.
But then it's also like, how do you say no to like potentially getting a few more champions to try out to
Yeah.
teach people with? I mean, yeah, it's interesting, and it is funny how adamant the community can get. Like when people accuse you or like, yeah, you can't get the 499 Iona pack because then you're tarnished, right?
Yep. That is
Where it's like,
true.
I don't have I have Osiren. That's the only AoE mage I have on my whole
Oh,
account. It's like, you know who would be so good?
she's
Iona.
so helpful. She's really
Yeah.
good. I actually started using her as the main DPS in some of my content on the test server because I was like, she's epic. And she's the cheap champion that a lot of people probably spent $5 for. So a lot of people probably have her. And I've been trying to showcase her a little bit more as like the only, like no legendary mages type thing. It's been fun.
On the first account I made just to test the game out to decide if I was interested, I pulled her like as like my third
Oh,
epic. Like
really?
so like on day two. So I kind of had that experience of if I bought her. And it was so cool. She's so good.
You know, I've
Like
never pulled an Iona for anybody in all of my thousands of summons I've
oh
done for
really?
viewers. Never pulled an Iona. I'm like, is she even
Quick,
possible?
I think she's either the
She
second or
is.
third epic, and I was like, I saw she was in the pack, so
Wow.
she's probably really good. And I tried her, and I was like, I even used a soul stone on her to get her awaken one. But yeah, that's actually a very quick aside. But do we know if the rates are like even? Is that
There's
do
no
they
way they
because they never
are.
claim it, right?
Every
So like
game,
technically,
Raid does the same damn thing. You know damn well that Cold Heart is not as common as Harrier. Like, you know
yeah,
it.
okay, because
like
it says
it
7.88%, right? But it's not
does.
saying
It's
that
a lie. I'm
this is the same
sorry.
as the other, right? Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you know that there's also people. Okay, Iona is definitely one of them. Also, Oleg. Nobody pulls Olegs.
Except
That's
for
one.
this weekend,
Yeah, I can't. That's why I'm so excited for it, and I think it's
I
one of the
can't
best
wait.
banners we could ask for. And Oleg's a
Yeah,
big reason for that. There's definitely a few heroes like Oleg and Iona that I've literally. Okay, I pulled one Oleg for someone. That's it. In all my 3,000, 4,000 pulls I've done for people. There's no way
yeah.
that's a coincidence, you know? So these games definitely lie in their hidden raid ups or whatever. Even raid, you know, weekly events, you're like, that person is definitely boosted. There's no way every single account I pulled for. Like I think it was last week, Soleil, I got her on every single account got a Soleil. It was just
I
weird.
think
You know?
Soleil is this week, right? I think
She's
she's
actually on
coming.
this week's banner, yeah. But it was so
Yeah,
weird. For some reason, during the two times, I think it was her. It might have been Scorch.
really.
Scorch was last week. So I
They
got
really
Scorch
want
for
us
like
to
every
build
single
Soleil.
account. I swear. Like,
Oh
there's
my
like, come
god.
on, they have to like tweak things. We know they must.
Yeah.
But
Well,
all right,
good transition back
yeah.
into the focus though. So like another thing of free to play is I like obsessively like if you want to go back to events and go to the event calendar, I'm talking about this in like almost every video in my daily series. Like I've been waiting for the it's coming now, the corridor whatever event, the
Oh
corridor of
yeah, I
glory.
wait too,
So
and I'm not free to play, and I wait.
yeah, well, that's just being a good player, right? But like for me, it's like driving me nuts because day 12 just ended. It's day 13 now
Yeah,
for
you
me,
wanna.
and it's like I only have 3 6 hours, and I have like even though I'm free to play and people have like accused me already of not being free to play, use some diamonds at the beginning on summons, but since then, every time I hit over 880, I buy myself back down to 880 just into the big energy
Hmm,
stamina pots. It's like my way of keeping myself honest so I don't get like trigger happy pulling. So I have like 40 something, almost 50 huge stamina pots because I've been waiting for this moment,
okay,
which can get
that's
frustrating. But
smart.
like this quarter of glory, it's like without even knowing it only dropped. I think yesterday it showed up on the schedule. In my head, knowing something would come, I've been like planning for it for, I guess, since like day 6 or 7, since because I really need to make more champions. So that's one thing in free to play. It's like, and in my intro video for both my raid series and then when I
Yeah,
started this series for Watcher Realms as well, I said like there's 3 things you need to do, and the second thing I said is be patient. And it's like you're gonna want to run Gear Raid 1. You're gonna want to just you have to wait till it makes sense. And
that's
it's
very relatable. I agree.
so yeah. And then a good example with that is like the 10x, right? It's like if this was a bad 10x, I wouldn't pull, but thank God it's
But it's
Midden and
good, yeah.
Olog. So it's like I will pull everything I have. Like, of course,
Yeah,
like I will
that
encourage every free to play player to do it because like
I
the idea of
am.
getting one of those two.
So the
So
difference
yeah,
is with Raid though, like Raid of course has 2 times epics, but this game doesn't. So ironically, the 10 times events might be better than the 2 times compared to Raid Shadow Legends, because
For me, I think yes.
if there's a good epic on the banner, then you might as like that actually makes it even more of a reason to pull for the 10 times banner, because at least you're going to get good epics too.
I will be like beating this drum that they need to have 2x epic events, or
I
like my pipe
know.
dream is someone does like 3x, because like what is free to play? Free to play is building your whole account around epics. You know, like
It's
you
true.
might get 1 or 2 legendary pulls, like, but even for me right now, like I'm free to play and this game gives you a ton of summons at the beginning and a ton of diamonds. So and I had the 2x thing with the legendaries last weekend. So like I do have 3 legendaries, which is really cool, like 2 weeks in, but like it's Nyx, it's Regulus, and it's Scratch. So like
Yeah.
I use all 3 of them because I need them, but none of them are OP, blah blah. I'm building my whole account around epics, you know. So for me, do I want to do a 2x and maybe get a Zor or another Cratch? Or do I want to do a 10x with Midon and with Olag? Like it's a million times more desirable to get champions like that, knowing there might be epic soul stones down the line. So yeah, it definitely changes your thinking.
One thing with you're talking diamonds and summoning, I think that makes this game very free to play friendly, at least if
Mhm.
you're willing to do so. And I think this is the best strategy that I'm going to continue suggesting to new players, including free to play. Early on, all the diamonds you get, I don't think you should save. 100% go all in on
For 100%.
summons until you have a roster that's worth building. If you don't have people, if you're not sitting back, oh, I don't have the resources to build these 5 champions, then keep summoning until you do. Until you get to that point of like, I have like so many people I'm excited about, but I don't have the resources to build them. Or if you're not even to the point where you can farm a logical stage, you don't want to be farming yeah, you got to farm a little bit of legendary gear, but you're not going to dump 2,000 stamina into legendary and epic gear. You're going to wait until you get mythics. Or same thing with the XP. You might grind up XP at stage 6, not stage 7, because you're forced to get like one hero to level 6 to 6 star. But as you're not going to do it for your whole account, you're going to like kind of wait.
100%.
You
Yeah, like
agree? Yeah.
I've only done, even still, like almost 2 weeks in, I've only done the absolute bare minimum in gear raid, in everything, artifact material,
Yeah.
and for XP, I would only farm XP until I got to XP 7, and I made it into chapter 8, which I did on like the end of day 1, beginning of day 2, because I was playing so hard. I only would do it when I knew, okay, this is a wall. I'm gonna farm a little XP. I'm gonna promote one more person. Oh, now let's check. Okay, I gotta do one more, because I just was like, what's the bare minimum? Because it's so inefficient.
I did
But
the
no
same even as a
question,
spender.
yeah, it's how you should really approach it, guys. And then and no question, like I think for either 3 or 4 or 5 days, like I can go to my videos and see, I was exactly what Ivy said, pulling everything I had. Like I was live on Twitch being like, hey guys, we hit 880 again, let's do a 10 pull, because I was like,
Same.
we had no DPS, literally none. My only mage was Amani, my only marksman was Brienne, and I was like, this account, I don't want a 5-star Voltus yet. We need units. You know, I only pulled literally my first like 5 epics, 4 of them were healers, which is awesome. But your healers can only carry you to like
Yeah,
chapter
that's
6 or something.
yep.
Yeah.
And here, one thing that's really fun that I think makes this okay, there's a weird actually I had this conversation with someone. The summoning, people say this game feels more generous with summons for free to play or spenders than Raid Shadow Legends because you get more. But really, I think we're just choosing to so we get to sell rares and get some diamonds, and boom, now I have more diamonds to summon. But in Raid, there's a different decision with how you use your diamonds compared to here, where you use them on summoning. But also, there's a little bit of a misconception, I think. People are like, oh, this game's so great. I've done 600 summons, whatever, free to play already. It's wonderful. And I'm like, yeah, but the difference is, or this might kind of go take away from how free to play friendly it is, honestly. Um, you get commons and uncommons. You get, or
Yeah,
advanced.
for sure.
And where if you people in their head are, I actually had someone stop the argument once I said this because they probably realized I was right. I was like, yeah, you got 600 of those. He's like, okay, I will start a free to play series for Raid, and if I can get that many, I'll let you know. I'm like, okay, you go right ahead and you add up your mystery shards and your rares, because guess what? You get commons and uncommons too.
Yeah, no question. I had a 10 pull. Maybe I was asking for it because we just talked about in my video, Narvi's like maybe my favorite champion so far. And I've been saying on stream and in videos, I really want Narvi. She's just blue. She's just a rare. And when I finally got Narvi, you guys can go back and find this. I used it as a teaser for one of my videos. It was a 10 pull. The first one was Narvi, and then 9 green champions.
Yep.
It's like that happens. So for sure that like I just think the rates are the rates, right? Like it is 0.5%, two
Yeah.
times, so 1% on events. But yeah, we do get more summons, and there's no question about that. I will also say something I love free to play is like I've spent a lot of time grinding in skill raid, right? Experience raid, excuse me. And then even now at gold stage 6, I did a lot of grinding there just so I could level some stuff, and you get a lot of rares.
Yeah, you
So
do
it
a
kind
ton
of
from these. Yeah.
a ton. So every 2 rares is 200 energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of is a little bit fun. It's like you're getting a little interest on this investment, right? Like you're
Yep.
kind of getting a little extra stamina to keep powering it. I got really lucky one, and I did like 600 energy, but I got like 6 rares. So it was
Wow.
free essentially, right?
Yeah, and
So
and
super
then those can
lucky.
become diamonds.
Exactly. Yeah, but if you just 6 rares is whatever,
Yeah.
180 diamonds, which is literally 600 energy.
That's
So
crazy. That's
it kind
funny.
of it,
Kind of paid for
that was really
itself.
lucky, but things like this
Yeah.
can feed back. I will also say, just getting into this nitty gritty, like when you awaken your champions and they give you a spirit back, that's like insanely
That's
free to play.
yeah, very.
Um,
That's really cool. I agree. I like
they have
that.
a system that's really in line with like Summoner's War, or like if anyone played like Calibri or Crystal Guardians way back in the day. But like if you bring your 1 star to level 10, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
go back to 1 when you promote it, right? It stays at 10, and then your 2 star stays at 20.
Yeah, I
That's
like
like
yep,
of course,
so
maybe the
much
XP
better.
scale is different, but for better for us, it feels more free to play. They do give you a lot of these awakening stones through Tide. It does seem easier to get skill ups, so like it is a trade off, but
Mm-hmm.
no question, like this feels easier, free
Oh
to
yeah, I
play,
can't
or more
show a
accessible.
dupe, can I? Oh wait, maybe I can. Aha, here's a dupe. There's what
Yeah,
you were talking about.
Nasalt's super underrated, by the way, people. I really like him.
He just I think he's all right. The reason we hate him is because he has that cooldown of like having to rebuild his bombs, and it makes him
Yeah,
less usable than Q. If you like Nasalt, build Cuke and you'll say goodbye to Nasalt.
okay, I don't have Nasalt. I've read his kit and
Oh
I love it.
no, it would be on paper. It sounds good until you use it and you realize how long it takes for him to try to build the stupid little poison bombs
But
again,
even
and
if
you're better
you
off using a rare.
okay, even if you skill him up, it's still that slow.
Yeah,
And if you
people hate
awaken him.
him. It's just not worth it. Unfortunately, it's just even the problem is that Cube still does it better, or even the
Okay.
yeah, that's the bummer.
Anyway, how cool is that like you wasted it to awaken him, but you didn't
Yep.
because you're basically getting the fodder. I really, really enjoy that. And they
Yeah.
even do it for 3 star champions.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
I don't do it for 3. Because why would you put a 3-star? You just sell them all for diamonds.
but like the ones I use,
Oh, the ones
like
you actually use. That's true. You're right.
yeah,
Yeah, the ones you use.
This and Autumn and like I did, Decimus. Or no, Decimus you can't awaken, but my favorites.
Yeah.
Um, it's something, and it just shows a consideration. I will say, so far, it's really early days. Just to contrast to Raid one more, I do wish there were a bit more generous rewards and events. Like if you want to go
Yeah.
right now to the Brave Conquest or whatever, this is the third time I've seen this in like 2 weeks of playing. These rewards are like, are you joking, man? I still do it because I mean you got to do it. You're free to play, but
No,
these
this is a
rewards,
joke. This is a
yeah,
joke. 5,000 gold. You can't even. I said this in the content creator chat. You can't even get a failed gear roll for that much.
yeah, a fair deal at like +9, not even getting higher. Yeah, that is they need to work on that, and I would love to see more tournaments. But aside from that, I think there's a lot of stuff, and like you said, like there is, at least to me, maybe I just was so terminally online back when I started playing Raid that like I was watching lots of videos and learning things. And this one I've tried to watch. I mean, I watch Ivy's videos, support your friends, but I try not to watch strategy videos because I like figuring it out myself.
Oh,
And I do feel like there's a big skill component to this,
very
which
much so.
there is in Raid, but it's a different kind of skill. And for me, at least, this has felt really rewarding. And I'll say I played Arknights as like a second or third game for like over half a year, um, way back in the day. And I didn't love it, but something about this, maybe it's the graphics of this, I'm really enjoying it, even though it's tower defense. So props to them. I think it's pretty cool, and I think the graphics are so cool.
So I think in general, like as I guess kind of to sum up the is it free to play friendly side to the conversation, you would say yeah, you think you're having fun free to play, that it's totally worth continuing and you don't feel too frustrated,
Yeah,
or how do you?
I think I mean I'm having a great time. This game's like super up my alley. The one caveat I have to make is I've never had an account last longer than like 3 days and 4 hours or however long I'm into it. So how do I know and how the game's going to evolve? You know, I'm not on the Forerunner server. I've only put in like these 2 weeks. But for sure, if I think I've probably done as much in 2 weeks as most people do for like a month or so. Like for sure, that beginning is super free to
Yeah,
play,
it's true.
especially if you're into the game. Like if you don't like the game, it's not going to feel free to play because you're not going to want to grind it. But if you're going to want to grind it and try a stage for like 30 minutes till you crack the case, or like for me and stage 715, like that, I tried it like, I don't know, 40 times and I was like, oh my God, I need to make a video. I figured it out, you know? But if you don't have that and you don't want to watch videos, then I think the game's going to feel like insurmountable if you don't have the right champions. But if you're into it, you can totally do it for sure.
Yeah, and I think this game does have a good balance of pleasing the pay to win people as well. There's plenty of low spend packs, or like the level up packs are really good. Or if you want to crack in, they definitely give you options. So I kind of think it felt to me so far like it's got a little bit for everybody and everyone could really enjoy it. Just at the end of the day, it's going to come down to RNG, right? Like, do you get lucky? Some accounts feel cursed, right?
Like pay to win freaking helps. Like every time Virna shows up in my arena, I can't fight her because it just means I lose. So yeah, there are amazing units to go and get. But yeah, I'd say overall, like if you're into the game, you can do it free to play. But even if you're pay to win, I think exactly what you said towards the beginning, Ivy, like it's a little less plug and play with certain things. So at the very least, you're gonna have to look up like one of my guides or Ivy guides or go on a mob bucket thing, you know, because you can't just be like, oh
Yeah.
look, I have Trunda boom, you know, or something like this.
Yeah, I think that's actually a funny point. I think that I didn't realize until we started talking is the most ironic thing. I think this is one of the least free to play, or least pay to win friendly games, in the sense of, yeah, you can't just force your way through it with spending money and throwing it on auto. I kind of like that though. That makes me appreciate the game a little bit more.
No question. Does
Yeah.
he put up Gear Raid 1? This is a good example. There definitely is content in this game. Like even now, like I've done a handful of pulls. I think I'm at like I know I'm at 262. And then I did 3 gold ones. I still don't have, I've had some luck. I've had some really bad luck. Like I can't do stage 13. And I definitely think I have decent enough gear and overall quality of champions, but I just don't have good AoE and I don't have mages, right? So this is a stage I can't do yet. And it is a thing where it's like, hey, if instead of having done 262, if I'd spent 50 or 100 bucks, I don't know how many summons that gets me, but if I'd done 362 or 460 or 500, I think it'd be more likely that I would have more variety of unit to plug and play and get it done. So there definitely, of course, there are levels to it, you know?
But even with something like this was one of those that I know everyone said immediately, oh, it's a mage check. At the end of the day, if you don't have enough mages, you're just not going to be able to do it. But there actually are a lot of AoE marksmen, and there's a lot of AoE ground units like my girl Valkyra down here. And there's even other fighters, just because, like, if they have an AoE damage in their kit like Scorch, they can hit through the wall. So there's some sleeper ways to push through content that I didn't expect, that I've been playing with on the test server. So I'm actually really excited for my video coming out. Well, it might already be out after I post this video, but on Razak.
He looks so cool, man.
I did some free-to-play friendly stuff, so to speak, but with epics, no legendaries at least. With Iona and Maul as the only other damage dealers, pretty much, and with him. And I was really surprised at how much damage they actually did for, I guess, just a more budget-friendly option versus having to have what you always think. Like, I don't have Comet, I don't have Vierna, like everyone's like complaints about them, or Ajax, or the Morrigan, the Lord. So, but I still was able to do stage 18 with some of the, like, with all epics, and like one guy but Razak wasn't even the highest damage.
Crazy.
So it's actually, I've been pleasantly surprised to find some more budget-friendly options. So that's nice to see. At least I know what you can get there. It's just gonna take a grind or understanding or getting quirky with some of it too. Like there's so much that we hear as like, you must have this, but do you? maybe there's something a little bit more outside the box that we haven't
I
tried yet.
cheese a lot of stuff with like a
Yeah.
Lucas and yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like you were talking about in your video for a Lucas or I was talking about artifact material raid cheesing it with Cuke. Like that's just another thing to push through, and it's kind of fun that there are those sort of options.
I'll say one concluding thought, or maybe my main concluding thought, is I really do like that there's some goated epics, because that's like that's like your little
Yeah.
victory to play. You know, like yes, we do get legendaries, but it's mostly epics. So like the idea, like I don't have them all, but like I'm so happy you pulled him up. Like he's probably the number one champion I want, right? So
Yeah.
like it will be, and I know for a fact, like from when I did raid, and you pull oh my god, it's been so Ugo or something, right?
Yeah.
It's like wow, it feels as exciting as getting legendary, and like whenever hopefully I pull that Maul, or like I did pull Baron, I was like, no way. I even like threw my hands up on my stream. Because I love when games have that. Like I will just quickly, let's chat up one more game. Something that drives me nuts. We both play a lot of Eternal Evolution, and they just do not care about normal champions anymore.
Yeah, that
It's
was weird.
like
They never it
triple
kind of
S or nothing. They
yeah.
haven't released triple S being legendary for them and S being epic. They haven't released an epic champion in that game since like old John, I think.
Oh, I
Like
don't play
months
anymore,
and
so
months
I don't
and
even know.
oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. But like I'm talking like half a year.
Yeah.
So I do like, and I hope they continue. And from what I've seen from the Forerunner server, I try not to look too much, but it seems like there's a lot of cool epics coming our way.
Yeah.
So like I did pull Deimos, I did pull Vortex, I pulled Baron. It's like super exciting. And I love that they have champions like that. And like, yeah, did I pull Soleil? Like, of course, but it happens.
So actually on the free-to-play friendly side from my perspective as a content creator, I want to do a free-to-play series because I want to make those relatable videos for people, and then yeah, you can kind of show like, see, you can do it free-to-play. You want to prove people wrong, right? You want to, but ain't nobody got time to play 2 accounts in this game. Like yours, like
That's it for me, man.
This game is so hands-on. It's not like Raid or Dragonair or 90% of the other, or even Eternal Evolution, where you can set up some battles, click it, and walk away, and or watch it in the screen and change it while you're doing something else. You can't. Like, you have to be in the moment, actually making every single split-second decision to really push content. And of course, there's obviously mindless farming once you get to certain stages, or you're just farming gear or whatever. But there's so much of it that's really pushing through when you're stuck.
It's
that
hands-on
is
for sure.
so hands-on, hours and hours. I can't imagine playing 2 accounts in this game. Some people tell me, oh, I made like, oh, my free-to-play account, or oh, this. I'm like, how do you play multiple accounts?
Yeah, if you guys want some perspective, so like I've been free to play for a while. So when I started my free to play series for Raid, I already had my own free to play account because I was a free to play player for like 4 months. And I let that happen with both accounts for like 6 or 8 months before I was like finally like giving away my original account and just focusing on my series. With this, I gave up on my original account from the first week. I want to say 1.5 days in to running them together. And I said, you know what? I love that account. It's gone.
But there's
I'm
no time to
retiring it.
do both. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping there's some point that I can do that. Or what I might do is actually bring back, this is, okay, I hope to bring back my Raid series I did that was called Free to Play 1 hour a day. Nobody
That's very
steal it.
interesting.
Nobody steal it. It's
I'm
my,
gonna tell
my
you, I think
title.
that is gonna be. I don't think you'll clear normal campaign for over a month.
That was the thing though. I played in Raid. I did that. It was extremely slow progression. But I had a lot of comments that were like, this is so nice. This is way more relatable than people blasting for 16 hours a day. Because that's not what most people can do.
Yeah.
Most people that play a mobile game just want to play on their phone on their way to work or when they're, in between
100%.
times. That's more relatable. So I think at the end of the day, yeah, it might be a little more niche, but at the same time, those people that never see that type of content are really going to appreciate it. So once I figure out kind of a flow with using the test server and getting to a more stable point where I can easily farm and not trying to progress as much in this game, I think I want to start a free-to-play 1 hour a day
I think
series.
that's such a good idea, actually, and I think that will transition to my proper concluding thought. So people have used to say to me and are already saying to me in the new game, like, "Wow, you did blah blah. How's that even possible free to play?" It's because like it's technically not free to play. I might not be paying money, but you were paying time. That's the cost. It
Time
might
is
not be
money.
monetary, but yeah, like so, like it's my goal is to show people what is possible at the maximum, not to tell people now go do this. How did you not clear normal campaign in 6 days? You know?
Exactly.
So it's mostly just to yeah, you can watch through and find the strategies, but don't hold yourself to the standard of some guy who just had knee surgery and is playing literally minimum 6 or 8 hours a day. You know, it's not real life. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's a fun way to wrap up, teasing my series, and yeah, kind of giving your goal. I like that. I like knowing that. That's kind of how Odd One Gaming, my husband, plays too. He did a free to play series. He grinded like a crazy person just to show what you can do, and it's fun to see what's really possible. Free to play, truly, just with a good grind. But yeah, if you guys haven't already watched our other collab over on Fastidious' channel, we have a video going out the same time for the top 10 most free-to-play friendly heroes in the game. And I think that was a fun conversation. I really liked it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Ivy Lee. It's great to finally connect.
Alrighty, well, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.